Welcome to the third in our four-part series dedicated to the American caregiver. You know, 4 out of every 10 adults ages 30 to 64 are caregivers. Over the next decade, those ranks will continue to increase. And joining us again, we're so happy to have him, is Dr. John Segal, CEO of Discount Medical Supplies, a man who is dedicated to helping caregivers and the ones that they care for. We're so glad to have you back, John.
Thank you very much for having us back.
You know, I want to know right off the top, why did you get involved in this? What's your personal story and connection?
I was, I guess, a caregiver from a very young age. When I was 10 years old, my father was diagnosed with cancer. And we were left home, my brother and my mother, to help take care of him. And for 3 years, he suffered from cancer and then eventually passed away when we were 13. And right at the end, my mother got sick on top of it and was home and needing some care and some help besides the nurses that were in the house. So we started at a very young age. Right after that, my grandmother got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she was living with us. So it was one thing after another that kind of led me into this. And now I help my 102-year-old grandfather long distance, but as his caregiver and guardian to help him through the process.
Wow. You know, you're quoted as saying that caregivers should conduct their caregiving duties like a business. What do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of us forget what we have to do every day. So as a CEO of a company, you want to delegate certain tasks to certain people to get through the day and to get through the year. So I believe that caregivers should have their medical supply team, and that's where we come in to help them out. They should have their doctor team. They should have their friends and family that are their team to help the caregivers get what they need, their dietary, their exercise. So if you look at it as a business and you oversee those different aspects, it makes it a lot easier for the caregiver, who a lot of times feels like they're all alone in this process.
Absolutely. Has corporate America turned a deaf ear to caregivers, in your opinion?
I don't know if they've turned a deaf ear, because now they're trying to go out as a marketing tool to go after caregivers, which I think is disheartening. We started our company because we're all caregivers. In fact, all of the friends and partners that you work with in our company are in the same situation that caregivers are. So they want to hear their stories, they want to listen, and they want to walk them through the best products available to them, because they're using those products for their family members already.
Sure. You know, your website is one of the internet's fastest growing sites. I find that just fascinating. But is it safe to say that consumer education plays just as an important role in the ability to purchase medical supplies? That's where I'm a little bit confused.
No, absolutely. We decided to make it a place where caregivers can get information not only about their products, but about things they can do to take care of themselves. So we have a practitioner and a patient help center to where our caregivers can come and learn from some of the top experts in the country on how to help themselves, how to help their loved ones as well.
Well, your website promotes that, and that it wants caregivers to stay healthy and fit, and that's really crucial, right?
Absolutely. They tend to forget about themselves. And, you know, a lot of their people they're taking care of may weigh more than them. You know, especially if it's a female taking care of their husband or their spouse, it's much more difficult to lift them. So they forget about the pain that they're in, they forget about their exercise, they forget about what they need to do for themselves, because if they're not fit, they can't take care of their loved ones.
Absolutely. What would you say is the single most important thing a caregiver should keep in mind?
Themselves. And I think most importantly, to wake up with a positive attitude every day and say they're making a difference in someone's life. And I think that's the most important aspect, because a lot of times they're forgotten about and they're focusing on somebody else all the time as opposed to worrying about themselves. And if they wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to change my loved one's life today, they feel better about themselves. Such
an amazing point of view that you have. And I also want to say that it's wonderful that your website's out there, because we're all going to have to deal with it, right?
That's correct, yeah. Eventually one of us, or all of us, will be a caregiver in some form. And it's very difficult to do that.
Alone. Well, I just want to thank you. This has been such an important topic, and I'm so glad you're coming back for one more segment, because I just think it's something we all need to really address, and sometimes we don't. So thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you're coming back again, and it's been a pleasure.
Great. Thank you very much.
Well, if you'd like to learn more, visit us at thebalancingact.com, or get a little bit social by logging on to Facebook.com/The Balancing Act Fans. And I want you to share with us your own caregiving thoughts, stories, and opinions.